I traveled 33 hours to South Africa from the US, and this is how that went. So, I'm gonna take you guys from the very beginning of this long journey. The story starts in Hot Springs, Arkansas, June 17th of 2024. It also so happened to be on my 19th birthday when we started our travels. We met up with the whole team around 7 o'clock to pack all our luggage, make sure everything was okay, make sure we were all there, blah blah blah. We met up. From there, we had to drive to the Dallas airport, which was about 5 hours, I think. Our flight was at 3:45 p.m. We got there and we made sure our luggage was fine. I had a personal bag and a carry-on and then a checked bag. We just had to get all that stuff checked. It was like 30 of us waiting. We pretty much boarded this one soon after going in. Honestly, looking back, I don't really remember how that one went because we took like a million other flights after that, so this one is really blurry on how it was like going. Because this flight was international, we were actually given food and all the extra treatment. Because we were going to be traveling for so long, they were like, let's give them some food. So we had dinner and then we had breakfast that next morning. So this flight was Dallas to Paris, France. And then in Paris, we actually had a 13-hour layover at the airport. To my surprise, it honestly was not that bad. But let me tell you guys this crazy thing that happened to me. And of course, it happened to me. Before I say that, let me tell you what happened before to build up to this story. The very first airport in Dallas, I'm next in line and I had to check my bags to get them checked. Not through the TSA just yet, but the prior step. And she's like, okay, just put your bag and just give me your passport. And I'm like, okay. I'm looking through my bag. I literally cannot find my passport. I found my Mexican passport, but I'm like, this is not the one I need. So I'm like, oh, I'm panicking, looking through every bag because I just upgraded my backpack. So I wasn't really familiar with the bags and all the different little spaces. So I literally could not find it. I was like, oh my goodness. Then I finally found it. So after landing in Paris, after our first flight, I'm walking with the team, we're all following each other. And we reach a point before getting to our gate that we had to get checked. And the lady is asking for our boarding pass and passport. And so I noticed that she's asking the people in front of me. So I'm like, okay, let me start getting mine out because I didn't have it on me. So I moved to the side. I get on the floor, start looking through my backpack. I literally cannot find my passport or my boarding pass. I looked through each bag 3 times. I could not find it. And I'm seeing that they're all passing through. The worst part is that nobody stopped to check on me. And nobody even noticed that I wasn't there. First issue here. I'm just kidding. Not. I'm like, I literally cannot find this passport. What is happening? I'm starting to sweat. I feel hot. I feel eyes on me. I just started to freak out. I'm like, there's no way. It has to be in my backpack. But I literally checked through every bag, emptied stuff out, could not find it. And so at this point is where another part of our team comes around and they find me and they're like, oh my goodness, it's Lizzie. And I'm like, I didn't cry this whole time. I really wanted to, but I held on because I'm like, I can't cry right now. That's embarrassing. They started helping me okay, go to the service desk, go check the airplane, or go ask them to check the airplane before it leaves. And I'm like, you know what? I'll literally do that right now. So me, Gabby, and Miss Patience, shout out them because they're the real ones here. And pretty much the rest of the Break Bill family who stuck with me. Y'all are the real ones. Them two came with me. So we talked to one of the guys in the front desk and he's like, all right, so I'm gonna talk to them, give them your information, where you sat, all that stuff. And he's just like, just hold on tight, and then if they tell me anything, I'll come to you or whatever. So me and Gabby sat on the side and we waited, and I just emptied everything out just to make sure it really wasn't in there, and it wasn't. I emptied every single thing out. I never found it. A couple minutes pass and I decide to go back up to the front desk to get some sort of update. And he's on the phone and he's like, they have your passport. I'm like, oh my goodness. Honestly, I had no energy to actually be expressive with how overjoyed I was. But I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Like, I don't know what I would have done if I actually never got that back. That was one thing that really just set me off. I was like, how? Like, why? First, I almost couldn't find it the first time. And then the second time I actually lost it, I was like, only me. Now comes the point of the story when we're at the Paris airport for a 13-hour layover. After that whole passport situation, me and Gabby walked through TSA and I make it through. I'm walking. Somehow me and her got split up. So I end up walking through to our gate by myself. So I'm walking and I literally cannot find our people. I'm at the gate, but it was not going to where we were going. So I'm like, I'm at the wrong spot. Like, where am I right now? Because I read and all the people are lined up boarding and the thing says Mumbai, India. I'm like, that is not where I'm going. Like, where are the people? Because it was at the gate. So they're saying, I forgot, I think it was like K25 or something. So I'm like, I'm literally here, but where are y'all? I start texting James and he's like, just keep going. I see you, just keep going. I'm like, where? And then that's when I see Gabby, I think. She comes out of nowhere. And so we walk together, I think. I saw someone, so I just followed them. But another thing, I was like, there's no way. First my passport, then I get lost, but I found my way. So all our team was in one section and then there was another section on the other side across from us, and we all literally just laid out and went to sleep. Well, most of us. I literally walked to the other side and there's just bodies everywhere of people just from our team and like fully covered, just knocked out. And it honestly, it looked scary. It looked like a crime scene just because of how the bodies were just laid out all random. Like, it was horrible. And I walked back and honestly, I don't remember what I did. There was a point where I kind of just sat on the floor and the dancers were rehearsing. So I just sat there, watched them. And then at one point I actually laid down and I tried to sleep, and the tiredness just hit me because we're at a 7-hour time difference from Arkansas. So like, it was 7 in the morning there, which meant it was like barely midnight back home. So like, I was tired. I was really, really tired. So there was one point where I actually fell asleep on accident. Like, I woke up, my computer was still open, like everything was just laid out. Basically, we were just sitting around, talking, waiting. We couldn't really walk out from our area because if we left the terminal or if we left the gate area, we couldn't get back in. So it was kind of a weird thing. So there was only like a limited area that we could be at, and there was like really no restaurants or anything interesting. When I actually first walked there, me and James went to this little coffee place and I got a dirty chai and a thing of granola yogurt thing. The coffee was good. Messed up my stomach for real. But later we ate lunch. I had a little onigiri, the little like triangle rice seaweed things, the Japanese thingies. And so I had one because I'm like, I've always wanted to try one of these. So I had a spicy tuna one. It was really good. And then I had Pringles and water. So that was my lunch. That thing messed up my stomach though. Like, I had it one time and then I had it later, and both times like it made my stomach hurt so bad. Horrible. But it was really good. After lunch is when we all fell asleep on our side, and that was hilarious. And then after a couple hours, me and Acacia went to the little shop and I bought some keychains and a magnet for my family. And then my keychain ended up breaking when I'm walking through the plane leaving Paris. So now it's just one little piece. I'm like, bro, I did not spend all this money just for that. Which the crazy thing is, like, I bought it with US money. Like, I spent $23 for 4 things at that place. Kind of crazy if you ask me. But honestly, it was the price difference was no different than like a normal like American gas station, because a keychain over there is like $7, $8, and it was the same in euros. So it was really no difference in that. Our stay at the France or Paris airport was really just us sitting around sleeping or trying to entertain ourselves or something. Most people slept the whole time. I didn't really sleep. The first flight, I really did not sleep. I couldn't fall asleep. The layover, I slept a little bit, and then that brings me to the next flight. So this second flight was 11 hours or 12 because there was some sort of delay or something. So it ended up being 12 hours. So at this point, it's already June 18th and it left at 9:35 Paris time. We're leaving France. We're leaving Paris. It's a 12-hour flight from Paris, France to Johannesburg, South Africa. So during that flight, I literally knocked out as soon as we got on. I wake up to them giving us dinner and I knocked out again, and I wake up and it's 4 hours left of the flight. Go back to sleep. I wake up and we have 1 hour left. So this is around like 7 in the morning, and then they give us breakfast. But I'm telling you, the longest flight, I knocked out. I was so tired. When we first got on, like I was like nodding off, like waiting for them to take off and like fully get in the air. That way I could actually be comfortable, take off my seatbelt, all that stuff. So that flight went by like this because I was asleep most of the time. The first one felt like an eternity because I never felt asleep. But then we land in South Africa, in Johannesburg. At this point, it's June 19th. So this is already 2 days later. We have a 5-hour layover. So our flight was at 2:50. I forgot when we got there. First, we had to walk through customs and all that stuff. So we're waiting in the line, waiting, going through. We passed. We had to check in our luggage and stuff like that. So I send off my big suitcase. I'm carrying my backpack and I'm carrying my personal bag and, strolling along my carry-on. This airport was much smaller. The terminal and waiting area was kind of weird. So all the seats were aligned on the wall and people were just constantly walking back and forth. Like we were in the middle of constant traffic. I couldn't fall asleep like I did the last time. Like we were limited in space, so we couldn't lay out on the floor like we did last time. So in this place, me and Acacia, we ended up getting like a smoothie. We got lunch. We had a bacon, egg, and cheese like croissant thing. We just waited. We got called up to line up. We got on the plane. This one was much smaller. What was crazy though, I had never been seated in a emergency aisle seat. The lady was like, I'm required to tell you guys this, like in the case of an emergency, are you guys willing to help, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Honestly, you really have no choice, because what are you supposed to say? No, I'm good, I'm gonna just save myself. That flight, I really didn't fall asleep because it was only an hour. Then we land in East London, South Africa. I forgot when we landed, but it was around probably 4 in the afternoon. What's crazy though, as soon as we got off, like you just get hit with like chill weather. Like it's cold down here and I was freezing. But after this flight, we still weren't done. This brings me to the final part of this story of our crazy traveling experience. Let me just sum it up. By the end of this, you guys, I wanted nothing more than to just settle down and take a shower. Because keep in mind, the last time I showered was on Sunday. We left Monday and didn't get here till Wednesday. Do the math. I was battling, and we all were. Another thing is, I didn't have any toiletries in my personal bags because we were told not to pack any toiletries. So all of them were under the plane the whole time. So I literally did not have nothing with me to freshen up. So yeah, you can just imagine how horrible I probably smelled. But we finally landed in East London, South Africa, but we were still not done. So from here, we get picked up by the church. We pack our luggage, we get into the van, and we drive to the church, because basically what they wanted to do was kind of introduce us to themselves, to the building, and feed us pretty much. At this point, I just want to settle down, stop moving, and just take a shower. But I'm like, it's just a few more hours, just a few more hours. So from here, we get to the church and they greet us and we go into our green room and they give us some food. We had like chicken, potatoes, carrots. It was really good. And they give us a little tour of the main arena where we were gonna, be leading worship at. And then we finally made it to the hotel last night. We get here. I don't know what was going on with checking in, that we were probably outside waiting with our luggage for about an hour more. I don't know, but it was a long time before we actually got into our rooms after arriving at the airport. So we finally make it. I'm here now. I'm rooming with Acacia this time. It's a pretty nice room, but this video is mainly just the crazy story of traveling 30 plus hours nonstop. Like, I feel fine. It's just like there's random times where like the jet lag just hits me, because currently it's 11:30 p.m. but back home it's like 4 p.m. They're like barely kicking it and we're just now going to sleep. But with that being said, This journey has been a lot on my mind, on my body. I honestly would not trade this for anything. It's quite an experience that I really would have never thought I would have. Like, I literally started this travel journey on my 19th birthday. Oh my goodness, I literally totally forgot to mention this fact. We're landing in Paris. Randomly, I just hear a commotion. I'm like, what? Because I was talking to Kaden, who was next to me. And then Levi next to him was like, Lizzie, they just said your name. They just said happy birthday. And I'm like, they did? Like, I totally missed the pilot telling me happy birthday because I was busy talking. There's no way. But it happened, which was really cool. And I find out later that Peter was the one who set that whole thing up. He literally, the first thing he did when he got on that plane was like, do y'all do anything for birthdays? Crazy. But that was a cute little thing. Honestly, I'm just sad that I didn't even hear it. Sad. Because most of the time, I just would tune out the pilot because, I don't know, I just tuned him out. Basically, the main reason why we're here in South Africa is because we were invited to lead worship at this conference called Revival X with My Faith TV, I think. And basically, it's a 10-day, 100-hour event. And so we're going to be here for 12 days. So the conference or the event starts tomorrow. Today we had like a little pre-worship thing. But basically, guys, that is the end of my story. I just want to thank y'all for following along with me. It's been a lot to talk about, but honestly, it's a sum of how crazy it's been and a true demonstration of what all went on. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.